I just want to let you know that we have a prepared speech. We have prepared speeches section, of course, which has 5 veteran Toastmasters following the CC manual. And each one is going to blow the mind away, so just hang in. We don't have a general evaluator. We do have a timer and a grammarian for today's speeches. As the Toastmaster of the day, it is my duty to introduce the role bearers who will assist me in the running of today's meeting. To keep track of the time, please help me welcome the timer for today's meeting, Toastmaster Priyanka Ranare. Please, Priyanka, spell out your role.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. To have an efficient meeting, we must control both the duration of the speaker time and also the time of each session. So I have 3 flags, green, yellow, and red. Throughout the meeting, I will signal each participant when they have reached the allotted time. For example, if you're giving prepared speech, which is typically 5 to 7 minutes, I will signal the green flag when you have reached 5 minutes, then the yellow flag at 6 minutes, then the red flag at 7 minutes. Once the red flag has been signaled, you have 30 seconds to wrap it up. The evaluators have 2 to 3 minutes to speak. I will give the green flag when they've reached 2 minutes, the yellow flag at 2.5 minutes, and the red flag at 3 minutes again. 30 seconds extra to wrap it up. Later on during the meeting, I will report to all of you the timer log. Thank you so much. You're on mute.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Priyanka, Toastmaster Priyanka. To track the good and not so good usage of grammar, we have the grammarian of the day. Who better than Toastmaster Surekha ma'am? Please spell out your role, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, Anjana. Thank you so much. Today, as your grammarian, I would be the detective for the good and not so good usages of the English language. I'm definitely going to scan your speeches for linguistic proficiencies and deficiencies as well. Today's word of the day is elated, which means being excited, being joyous, being jubilant, being delighted, and just being thrilled. And a good sentence usage would be, today I am fated to be your grammarian, and that has left me elated. But I do hope that this would leave you neither deflated nor sedated. I urge each one of you all to use this word, elated, as frequently, as fluently, and as accurately as you possibly can. Use this word not as a stumbling block, but as a stepping stone towards accomplishing greater linguistic glory. I wish each one of you all the very best of your very good potential. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm elated by the amazing introduction that you gave. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to it then. So to evaluate our first speaker, we have Toastmaster Ankit. Toastmaster Ankit, I request you to please read out the speech objectives. Toastmaster Ankit.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. The speaker is attempting his project 3, monodrama from the Interpretive Reading Manual, ACB manual, and the objectives of his speech are to understand the concept and nature of the monodrama, to assume the identity of a character and to portray the physical and emotional aspects of this character to an audience. Timer, please note the time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. All the best.
5 to 7 minutes. Thank you, Toastmaster Ankit. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm very excited. I am elated to introduce this person. Our first speaker of the day is attempting interpretive reading 3, assignment number 3. He's been a Toastmaster for the last 4 years. He started his journey at Bangalore Toastmasters Club. He was also a part of the Speechcraft. I'm so looking forward to that. He's an IT professional who's working on his own very secretive startup. He's going to be the president of Bangalore Toastmasters Club for the next term. Please put your hands together to welcome Toastmaster Ayyappa. Toastmaster Ayyappa, the monodrama, Toastmaster Ayyappa.
Thank you, Manjunath. I arrived at the address and honked. After waiting a few minutes, I walked to the door and knocked. "Just a minute," answered a frail elderly voice. I could hear something being dragged across the floor. After a long pause, the door opened. A woman in her 90s stood before me. She was wearing a print dress and a pillock's hat with a veil on it, like a somebody out of 1940s movie. By her side, there was a small nylon suitcase. The apartment looked as if no one had lived in it for years. All the furniture were covered with sheets. There were no clocks on the walls, no knickknacks, utensils on the counters. In the corner there was a cardboard box filled with photos in glass waves. "Would you carry my bag to the car?" she asked. I took the suitcase to the cab, then I returned to assist the woman. She took my arm and we walked slowly towards the curb. She kept thanking me for my kindness. "It's nothing," I told her. "I just try to treat my passengers the way I would want my mothers to be treated." "Oh, you are such a lovely good boy," she said. When we got in the cab, she gave me an address and asked, "Could you drive me through downtown?" "It's not the shortest way," I answered quickly. "Oh, I don't mind," she said. "I'm in no hurry. I'm in way to the hospice." I looked in the rear view mirror. Her eyes were glistening. "I don't have any family left." She continued with a soft voice. "The doctor says I don't have very long." I quietly reached over and shut off the mirror. "What route would you like me to take?" I asked. For the next 2 hours, we drove through the city. She showed me the building where she had once worked as an elevator operator. We drove to the neighborhood where she and her husband had lived when they were newlyweds. She had me pull up in front of a furniture warehouse. She had once been a ballroom where she had gone dancing as a girl. Sometimes she would ask me to go slow in front of a particular building or corner and would sit staring into the darkness, saying absolutely nothing. As a hint of the sun was creasing the horizon, she suddenly said, "I'm tired, let's go now." We drew in silence to the address she had given me.
Close the door.
It was a low building, like a small nursing home with a driveway that passed under a portico. 2 orderlies came out of the cab as soon as we pulled up. They were solicitous and intent, watching her every move. They must have been expecting her. I opened the trunk and the suitcase to the door. The woman was already seated in a wheelchair. "How much do I owe you?" she asked, reaching into her purse. "Nothing," I said. "You have to make a living," she answered. "There are other passengers," I replied. Almost without thinking, I bent and gave her a hug. She held me onto so tightly. "You gave an old woman a little moment of joy," she said. "Thank you." I squeezed her hand and then walked into the dim morning light. Behind me, the door shut. It was the sound of the closing of a life. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Ayyappa. Let's give a round of applause for Toastmaster Ayyappa, please. That was very nice. I remember the Jadoo Ki Jappi. Toastmaster Ayyappa, very well. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Now let's move on to the next speaker, the second speaker of the day. To evaluate our second speaker of the day, we have Toastmaster Milind. Toastmaster Milind, a warm welcome to our club meeting. I request you to please read out the speech objectives for the second speaker. Thank you, sir.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. So the speaker is going to attempt his project 3 from communicating on video. The project says, when you are the host, the objectives are to conduct a successful interview, to understand the dynamics of a successful interview or talk, to prepare questions to be asked during the interview, to present a positive, confident image on the camera. Timer, please note, time is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to Manjunath.
Thank you, sir. 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, let's get started. The second speaker is attempting ACG 8, Communicating on Video, Project 3. He's been with Toastmasters for the last 6 years. He joined Bangalore Toastmasters Club at the age of 18. Oh, how I miss it. Besides public speaking and training, he's passionate about cooking. His dream is to learn culinary skills from the best institute in the world. Unlike most of us, he prefers watching documentaries rather than movies or TV shows. Please help me welcome the man who can prepare the best donne biryani in the world, Toastmaster Lalit Dhanush. Lalit Dhanush, the Lalit Dhanush Show. Toastmaster Lalit Dhanush, over to you, sir.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We're here at the Lalit Dhanush Show, and today with us, we have a really special guest. Our guest today is the second youngest DTM in the world. I repeat, second youngest DTM in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please put your hands together for the one and only DTM Rohan Ravindra. Thank you, Rohan. Hi, Rohan. Man, I've known you personally for quite some time now, but now I know you as DTM Toastmaster Rohan Ravindra, and I think it's been quite a journey. I don't even have to ask you. It shows on your face. You have a DTM smile already.
True. I mean, it's a very long journey, I think. Well, considering that we started off in CMS, that's a college club, and I remember how we had the orientation and these people who came dressed up in suits, and they just enthralled all of us there in the orientation batch. And I remember just being.
I'm sorry, Lalit, but I have to interject here. We couldn't hear the other speaker. Could we make some adjustment?
Okay. We'll have to get this off.
Yeah.
We reset.
Shall I
let's move to the next speaker and let Lalit reset and come back. Will that be okay?
Can we reset?
Lalit, you take your time. We'll move to the next speaker and then you come back.
Okay, cool. I'm so sorry for that.
No, don't worry.
Thank you, Toastmaster Deepika. Okay, let's move on to the third speaker. To evaluate our third speaker of the day, we have Toastmaster Priyanka. Again, Toastmaster Priyanka, a very warm welcome to our meeting today. We're happy to have you here. I request you to kindly read out the speech objectives.
Speaker is attempting project 9 of the Competent Communication Manual. The objectives are to persuade listeners to adopt your viewpoint or ideas or to take some action, appeal to the audience's interest, and use logic and emotion to support your position.
Okay, thank you very much. Our third speaker is attempting CC9, Persuade with Power. She has been with the Toastmaster for the last 2.5 years. She started her journey with Bangalore Toastmasters Club. Currently, she is a senior manager HR for Union Bank of India. When I asked her views on today's theme, She said, here's what she said. Actually, God has gifted this beautiful life. Let's not waste it with our ego, angry fights, and whatnot. Let's make life beautiful for us and for others too. Let's welcome the healthy, fit, and flexible Toastmaster, Sujata. Toastmaster Sujata. Healthy, fit, flexible forever. Healthy, fit, and flexible forever. Toastmaster Sujata, over to you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Most of my Toastmaster colleagues are fitness freaks. I am elated that many of you are health conscious. Of course, the style of exercise may be different, but the outcome is same. Good evening, dear Toastmasters and guests. What is fitness? Why is it required? Basically, fitness is nothing but doing a physical activity that makes you sweat, causes you to breathe harder, and gets your heart beating faster than while it is at rest. During earlier days, it was not much popularized, especially for women. There were no servants in many houses. All household works were done by a woman in most of the cases. I hail from a small village in Andhra Pradesh. Before we could shift to Bellary, we were living in a small village. We are agriculture family. My mother used to wake up early in the morning. Her day used to start at 5 a.m. in the morning. She used to clean the entire house, animal shed, milking the animals, lifting water from the borewells, making the buttermilk, and many more other work. When it comes to buttermilk, she used to use this type of instrument for making the buttermilk. This is a smaller version of that. We used to have a very big one. Like this she used to do. As we were living in a village, we never had a soft drinks or juices. Whenever any guest visits at house, we used to offer a glass of buttermilk to our guests. Apart from this, she used to go to nearby agriculture fields. She used to bring green grass for our animals. She used to visit nearby forest. She used to bring dry wood for cooking. And she used to make cow dung cakes for being used as a fuel. She was using washing bag to clean clothes. A washing bag looks like exactly like cricket bat only. Apart from other kitchen work, she was doing all these works. Many of you may agree with me that in olden days, rice was never polished. Paddy plants were thrashed against a rock to separate paddy. Once in a month or a fortnight, my mother used to refine raw rice in my house by pounding it with a long stick in a grinding stone. This is the long stick she was using. This is how she used to. Maybe you can recall with this. This we will call in Telugu as rokali. She used to refine other cereals and ragi, like ragi and jawar. This is how she was doing with a stone. Grinding stone we were having. This is how she was doing it. All of these activities helped my mom to maintain her fit and healthy. Till date, she is very hale and healthy and does all her household work. Nowadays, many of above works have become religious formalities in marriages. Now, we have gas for cooking, washing machine for washing the clothes, another machine for cleaning the vessels, mixer for making the powder, grinder for making the batter. One need not even cook rice. Rice cookers are available. One has to put rice, water, switch on the power. You will get cooked rice. Because of all these luxuries, our bodies became lazy. We can't bend, run, can't even sit for a longer time. Very soon, we become tired and stressful. Nowadays, at early ages, we develop arthro problems, shoulder freezing, knee pain, joint pains, muscle catches, and many more. We do not stretch our muscles, lift weights, or we do any work which involves sweating. Friends, it's very important and is the need of the hour to keep our body fit and healthy. Of course, I do not expect anybody to do all those works which I told. Due to hectic schedule, we need to depend on machines. At the same time, we need to maintain good health too. We have various types of exercises to keep our good health. We have gyms where we can do exercises. We have other type of exercise, aerobic exercise. This also, it looks like this. It is a rhythmic exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This looks like this. This step aerobics helps to burn calories and fat. We have yoga exercise also. Practicing yoga helps to slowly stretch muscles and help to work on the energy channels. It keeps our muscles and joints lubricated and healthy. I was under the impression that I did not have time to do fitness exercise, and it was not my cup of tea. No, I was wrong. You all know that within reasonable limits, nothing is impossible. Where there is a will, there is a way. Using the simple, doable fitness system, you can be healthy, fit, flexible, and healthy forever. Just spend 30 minutes in a day for your health. I have chosen aerobics, and every day I spend 45 minutes daily. After joining to fitness classes, I feel that my entire day is highly energetic and very spirited as compared to my earlier days. Of course, it has other huge benefits also. Sounds interesting, right? Why late? Those of you who are not into fitness exercise, I wish you to start. Do fitness exercise daily, at least for 30 minutes. It may be yoga or aerobics or
Ma'am, we lost you. Could you check the connection? Yes, please, go ahead.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, please, go ahead.
It may be yoga or gym or aerobics. Just do it for 30 minutes daily. Whatever you choose, it's your choice. But start doing physical activity. Let's rewire our minds for ultimate fitness and start workouts and tackle our fitness goals like never before. To conclude, some people want it to happen. Some wish it would happen, and others make it happen. I have made it happen. It helps me to maintain the present figure. Why can't you choose to look like Salman Khan or Shilpa Shetty, who are fitness freaks? Friends, I assure you that you will definitely live longer life. The choice is yours. Over to you, Manjunath.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay. Good. So you use the machines, yet give about 30 minutes of your time to keep yourself healthy. Good takeaway. I like that. Become healthy, become energetic. Another point that I really like. Now, becoming energetic is a good thing because the energy is contagious. You don't only become better with your health, you become better with your relationships. So that was my takeaway. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. Okay, now I think we have Dhanush ready, Lalit Dhanush.
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Now, would you like me to ask the evaluator to read the guidelines again, or are we good to go? Can we get started?
We can begin.
Okay. Shall I do an introduction?
Just give me a 3, 2, 1 and we begin.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Lalit Dhanush Talk Show. We have a really special guest with us today. And did you know he is the second youngest DTM in the world? Without further ado, let's welcome our guest for this evening, DTM Rohan Ravindra. Welcome, Rohan. Thank you. Thank you. We're absolutely elated to have you on this show today. And to quickly begin with, I want to ask you, what was it like to attend your very first Toastmasters meeting?
Okay, well, my Toastmasters journey began when I was in college. So just like you have orientations, a group of well-suited girls and boys came in and absolutely enthralled all of us. I was just there in awe, I was just looking at all of them, and I said, I want to be something like that. And well, since then, it's been a journey of about 3 years now, and well, here I am.
That's fantastic. And like you said, I'm assuming that you started your Toastmasters journey pretty much from the age of 18.
Correct.
That's awesome. So, Rohan, let's get to the most important part. You've been named DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster. And what significance does this title carry to you, considering the fact only 1% of people that are Toastmasters can accomplish this feat?
Well, okay. The word distinguished, they generally meant be someone who has accomplished something, right? And I did the DTM for 3 reasons. First one was just for the achievement and title of it, right? The second was because, well, especially in India and in Toastmasters as well, there is this proclivity of people to just brush you off because you're young, right? So this was one of my things, one of my achievements, saying that now that I'm DTM, you can't do that. So that was my second. And third was because, well, now that wherever I go, I have this title of DTM, so I can't have a compromise on quality. So this is something which will ensure that I give quality each and every time. So this was one of the reasons I did the DTM.
Man, I think you nailed all the 3 points perfectly. And one point that I really like is that the standard you set as a DTM. Once you accomplish a feat like that, it's probably the highest educational title that you can accomplish. And you definitely have a quality that you have to touch and practice, or even the way you appear, the way you talk matters most at every single meeting, at every single instance. What do you think about that?
Well, absolutely. And I think that just the title of being a DTM does not mean anything, right? You will have to live up to that title. And I think that, just people who just go for the title is, I think, ultimately you're going to have the title and then what, right? So if you can back it up with quality, and I think that's the game changer. I think this is going to be the next chapter for me.
That's awesome. So Rohan, if I would ask you something now, being a DTM is not an easy path. And I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening and watching to this would agree, because not many people are able to accomplish this, right? Now, in this entirety of this journey, if you can give me a couple of takeaways personally, not only through the DTM journey, but also through the normal Toastmasters journey, what would be those takeaways from this entire journey of yours?
Okay, so I think that I can boil it down to like 3 takeaways. Okay, and it's the following. So first is always to be regular to your club meetings. Punctuality. I think being regular is the one key factor, because you will learn from accomplished speakers, right? So you have to be regular for every meeting. I think that's number 1. Number 2 is to always do a lot of research. So I think that just doing a project or just doing it for the sake of doing it is not the right way. So do more research, see how you can best deliver for it, and I think do that. That's number 2, research. And well, the third is, I think, rehearse. So rehearse your speeches multiple times, even if you even if you haven't done it, rehearse it. And I think that's going to give you that edge over the others.
I cannot agree more with you because I've been on a Toastmasters journey for about 6 years now. And validation is one of the most important things to add credibility. And second, rehearse. Practice makes man perfect. My next question would be, now that you're 21 years or 22, if you can throw a figure on that, what's your age?
Okay, so I'm 21 years, 7 months, and around 20 days.
That makes you the second youngest DTM in the world and the youngest in India. Now, you're a youngster, right? By age, maybe not by experience, but at least by age. Do you think that Toastmasters as a platform adds credibility and is very important, especially maybe in our education system or for youngsters like you and me?
Well, yes, absolutely. I think Toastmasters is the deal breaker for all of those youngsters, and I think that's going to make them be head and shoulders above their competitors. So I think yes.
That's fantastic, Rohan. One last question. You finished DTM, which honestly even I haven't channeled myself to accomplish. It's a great feat. But there are a lot of people who come into Toastmasters for a very short interval of time. Now you finished DTM, it's basically an entirety of a chapter and not many people do it. Now my last question is, what next for Rohan Ravindra, because you finished it all?
Well, I think that there's always an option to give back to people. And as cliche as this may sound, it's the whole purpose of why we're there. I mean, even with genes, yourselves, give information for the future generations. I think very similar to that. I think it's now my time to give back to the community, and we'll see how well I can serve the district. I think there's going to be something on my list now.
Oh, that's awesome. Toastmaster Rohan, correct me, sorry, DTM, Distinguished Toastmaster Rohan, you've accomplished everything in terms of communication. You've climbed the ladder as the new area director and you want to serve the district. And that shows that you want to start a new chapter as one of the youngest leaders, youngest examples you can say for all those Toastmasters out there. Age really does not matter. And who better than DTM Rohan Ravindra to stand as an example and testimony for that. Thank you so much, DTM Rohan, for joining us for this wonderful talk. And it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. And I hope you had a good time, ladies and gentlemen. Over to you, TOD.
Thank you very much, Lalit Dhanush. Good questions inside good insights. We got some very good insights. Quality, punctuality, improving research skills, giving back. These are some of the characteristics of a successful person, not just DTMs. So that was my takeaway. Thank you very much for that interview. All right, now are we ready for number 4? This is very exciting. To evaluate our 4th speaker of the day, we have Toastmaster Melvin. Toastmaster Melvin, I request you to read out the speech guidelines, please, sir.
You said it right. You have to be elated to evaluate this next speech. It's from the Advanced Communication Series, Interpretive Reading. And it's the 5th assignment, the oratorical speech. The objectives are to understand the structure of an effective speech, to interpret and present a famous speech, and the maximum time is 10 minutes.
Our next speaker is attempting Advanced Communication Silver, speech number 2. Project 5 from the Interpretive Reading Manual, the oratorical speech. She's been with Toastmasters for just 2 years. Her growth has been exemplary. She started with Bangalore Toastmasters Club and currently serves as the president of our club. She loves reading John Grisham books. She's currently reading a book titled The Chambers, which she says is her current favorite. She loves football. Lionel Messi is her favorite footballer. She has 2 doggies, Bruiser and Bane. I hope Bane isn't the supervillain. The speech is an excerpt from Oprah Winfrey's address to Stanford's outgoing batch of 2008. Let's put our hands together for the one and only Toastmaster Deepika. Toastmaster Deepika, feelings, failure, and happiness. Feelings, failure, and happiness. Toastmaster Deepika, over to you.
All of you leaving here today have the potential for enormous success. There's a price that comes with that. First and foremost, knowing who you are. Knowing who you are. Being able to answer this question. Who am I and what do I want? I am asking the bigger question. Who am I really and what do I want? I don't want to just be successful in the world. I don't want to just make a mark or have a legacy. The answer to that question for me is that I want to fulfill the highest, the truest expression of myself as a human being. You must have some kind of vision for your life, even if you don't know the plan. You have to have a direction in which you choose to go. You want to be in the driver's seat of your own life, because if you're not, life will drive you. Knowing who you really are in this space and time that we embody, you must find a way to serve. Martin Luther King said that not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined by service. Now we live in a world where everybody wants to be famous, where we admire people for just being famous. We think being known brings us value. The truth is, all of that will fade in time. In 3 years, you won't even be able to name the housewives, the bananas. The real truth is that service and significance. Yes, service and significance that you bring to your service is that which is lasting. When you shift the paradigm of whatever it is, you choose to do service and you bring significance to that. Success will, I promise you, follow you. Service and significance equals success. Here is the key. Learn from every mistake, because every experience, every encounter, and particularly your mistakes, are there to cheat you and force you into being more of who you are, and then figure out what is the next right move. What is your true calling? What is your dharma? What is your purpose? All of you leaving here have the potential for enormous success. But there's a price that comes with that. People don't always like you, and they're not always happy for you. And if you surround yourself with people who are not accustomed to your success, they become fearful. They become scared because you are reflecting back something to them that they don't recognize. People who want the best for you want you to be your best. So my greatest advice to you is to surround yourself with people who are going to fill your cup until your cup runneth over. And what I know for sure is that the biggest choices begin and end with you. Your internal big questions. Who do I want to be in this world? Be excellent. People will notice. Let excellence be your brand. Everybody talks about building a brand. I never even knew what that was. When people said to me, you are a brand, I would say, no, I'm just opera. But what I recognize now is that my choice to it, every way, in every example, in every experience to do the right thing and the excellent thing is what has created the brand. And so I say to you, forget about the fast lane. If you really want to fly, just harness your power to your passion. Honor your calling. Everybody has one. Trust your heart and success will come to you. So how do I define success? Let me tell you, money is pretty nice. But I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that it's not about money, because money is very, very nice. I like money. It's good for buying things. But having a lot of money does not automatically make you a successful person. What you want is money and meaning. You want your work to be meaningful, because meaning is what brings the real richness to your life. What you really want is to be surrounded by people you trust and treasure, and by people who cherish you, because that is when you are really rich. Now, I want to talk a little bit about failings, because nobody's journey is seamless or smooth. We all stumble. We all have setbacks. If things go wrong, you hit a dead end, as you will. It's just life's way of saying time to change course. So ask every failure. This is what I do with every failure, every crisis, every difficult time. I say, what is this here to teach me? And as soon as you get the lesson, you get to move on. If you really get the lesson, you pass and you don't have to repeat the class. If you don't get the lesson, it shows up wearing another pair of pants or skirt to give you some remedial work. And what I found is that difficulties come when you don't pay attention to life's whisper. Because life always whispers to you first. And if you ignore the whisper, sooner or later you'll get a scream. Whatever you resist persists. But if you ask the right question, not why is this happening, but what is this here to teach me, it puts you in the place and space to get the lesson that you need. In a few moments, you'll all be officially Stanford's 2008. You have the heart and the smarts to go with it. And it's up to you to decide really, where will you now use those gifts? You've got the diploma, so go out and get the lessons, because I know great things are sure to come. You know, I've always believed that everything is better when you share it. So before I go, I wanted to share a graduation gift with you. Underneath your seats, you'll find two of my favorite books, Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth and Daniel Pink's A Whole New Mind, Why Right-Brainers Will Rule the Future, that has constantly reassured me that I'm in the right direction. Well, I really wanted to give you cars, but I just couldn't hide that under your seat. Congratulations, 2008, and all the very best. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Great. Thank you for that wonderful speech. Know thyself. Who am I? What do I want? Expression of yourself. Be in the driver's seat. Not everybody can be famous, but everybody can be great, because greatness is determined by service, the power of service. Be excellent. Trust your instincts. Whatever you resist, persist. So many takeaways. Toastmaster Deepika, wonderful speech. Thank you very much for that. All right, now, this is a landmark speech. Once the one that Deepika just gave, it's an Advanced Communication Silver Award, which includes delivering over 30 speeches in Toastmasters. So let's give a big round of applause for Deepika. Yes, Toastmaster Milind is actually standing. Let's go ahead, let's do that. Very nice, a standing ovation. Thank you very much. That's great, thank you. All right, great. Now we are on to number 5 to evaluate our next speaker of the day. We have Toastmaster Rajesh. Toastmaster Rajesh, I request you to read out the speech objectives for the next speaker.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manjunath. The next speaker is attempting the project 3 from Speak to, just a second, Speak to Inform manual, and the project is demonstration talk. The objectives are prepare a demonstration speech to clearly explain a process, product, or activity. Conduct the demonstration as part of a speech delivered without notes. Time manager, please note the speech time is 5 to 7 minutes. Over to you, Toastmaster.
5 to 7 minutes it is. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rajesh. Smitha, before we get started, I just want to know if you're all good with the presentation. Is it all
I
working?
would like to share the screen and check whether it is okay.
Please do.
Smita, try sharing the screen now. I think it should work.
Yeah, 1 second.
Sure.
It's taking time. Yeah, let me see now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you want to just once put
Yeah,
on
I will
screen?
try to. Yes. I don't want to, what happened last week to happen.
Yeah. So try before you start only.
Yeah.
We have time, so don't worry.
I think I'm good to go. I hope
Sure.
everything will go well.
Yeah. Okay. We're ready then.
All right. Thank you very much. Our next speaker, I've already given away the name, but that's okay. Our next speaker is attempting ACB, Speaking to Inform. She has been with Toastmasters for the last 5.5 years. She started her journey at Bangalore Toastmasters Club. She's currently a teacher at Bethany High School. She teaches math for the high schoolers. That's a tough job. She believes every day is a challenge. It is up to you to take up that challenge. 3-year-old or 90-year-old, the next moment is a new challenge. We have to face it and start afresh. That's what she had to say about the theme of the day. That's inspiring, isn't it? Please help me welcome Toastmaster Smitha. Toastmaster Smitha, the brain game. The brain game. Toastmaster Smitha, over to you.
Thank you, Manjunath. Twin Voyager 1 and 2, launched in 1977, carry some precious cargo in its journey outside the solar system. A Mozart composition, greetings in 55 different languages, and the brain waves of a lady newly in love. Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Carl Sagan, a renowned astronomer who led the Golden Record. He measured the brain waves of his teammate Andrew using EEG and then compressed it into a minute of sound. Anne, at that time, head over heels in love with Sagan. Her brain sounded like exploding firecrackers. 22 years after, Druan became Sagan's widow. The melody of a brain in love is still soaring in the space. Sagan and his teammates at that point of time chose to reveal a hint of brain's innermost secrets. The question of what makes us human is usually left for the theologians or philosophers or musicians, artists to answer. But some scientists think that it lies in the mystery of brain. how to understand the brain, that enormous organ of 1,300 grams between our ears, having 100 billion neurons in it. Now, the brain has taken millions of years to evolve. Look, going to the lower part of the brain, let me just try to bring the, yeah, including hypothalamus and cerebellum. It is the place for acts like eating and sex drive, has not evolved much. What a lizard has and what we have, almost the same. But sections where emotional development happen, like the hippocampus, has improved considerably. And humans have a very large cortex, complex cortex, which is a home for language and thinking. I'll compare it to the 3 scoops of ice cream. And the interactions between the 3 layers makes us what we are today. Repeated patterns of thought and feelings can make a big change in our brain. Let us explore some common situations from our daily life and how the knowledge of understanding the brain can improve our reaction to it. Brain under criticism. You think about the last performance review you got. Your boss told you 19 good things and that one last piece of criticism. What sticks your brain is that negative 20th one. Our brain is like Velcro for negative feelings and Teflon for good ones. But what can we do about it? This is where the power of positive thinking comes. Intentionally feeling the good experiences for a long time can make that sink in your brain that we become more happy and resilient. Brain under a stressful situation like public speaking. We have butterflies in our stomach and dry mouth. That is because evolution has trained us like that. But for some people, the brain recasts the nervous energy to positive force. And it makes the upper part of the brain makes him think that the physical stress of fear is a sign of his excitement and readiness to connect to the audience. Brain when listening to music. Imagine that you are in a queue and at the background, Happy by Pharrell Williams is being played. It hits your ear first, and from there, from cochlea to the cortex, all the regions of the brains are activated. When you think about the next line or when you heard it last, the memory retrieval part of your brain is being activated. When you tap your foot to the music, the motor cortex part of the brain is retrieved. And if you are really feeling happy about hearing happy, then the pleasure centers of the brain have released dopamine, a neurotransmitter. Don't underestimate the power of music. It can literally activate your entire brain and fueling your brain to its desire to solve problems and find out patterns. Well, telling about solving problems. Our brain has the power to solve problems when it is at sleep. The studies done in Harvard University says that when you fall asleep, for the next 90 minutes or so, your brain quietens down, but it reactivates itself with REM sleep, that is rapid eye movement sleep. And this activity comes from a different part of the brain, and it allows dreaming mind to come up with a new solution. An inventor may see a new design, a music composer can come up with a new composition, and to maximize its effect in our life. If we have an issue, researchers say you write it down and then visualize it in your brain. At the end, tell your brain to come up with a solution for it. It equally important is to keep a pad and a pen near you so that you can write it immediately as you get up, because the dreams are in the short-term memory. And do you know that simply by relaxing and focusing on your breath, simply sitting, you can build your brain structure? Yes. Meditation. This was the slide for dreaming. Meditation is thinking about thinking and paying attention to attention. When you meditate for about 40 minutes in a day, it can really build brain tissues. You can always start with 5 minutes. Like any other muscle in your body, if you don't activate or use your brain, you can eventually lose it. So, activate your brain and stimulate it using music and meditation. Over to you. Thank you.
That was a wonderful speech. Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Smita. Velcro for negative thinking. That was interesting. Emily Dickinson said, the brain is wider than the sky. I guess we'll never, ever be able to explore every corner of our brain. That's for sure. But I'm glad you covered some key points. Use it or lose it. Wonderful speech. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Now that we have done all 5 speaker speeches, again, I'm elated for the next section. Okay. If you loved every speech, please give it a thumbs up. Either you can do it on your video or use that emoticon. Give a thumbs up, a clap. Yes, I love that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good, great. So those were wonderful speeches, weren't they? Okay, now it's time for evaluation. I'd like to invite the evaluator for the first speaker, Toastmaster Ankit. Over to you, Toastmaster Ankit.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Ayyappa in particular. Ayyappa, I have seen you as a very, very comical speaker, a speaker who always tries to play with humor on stage. But this time it was good. It was great to see that you tried to generate a different kind of emotion in the audience by taking us on a journey, the short journey with the old lady. And you did fantastically well. So if I have to give you a few feedbacks on the guidelines that were there for your projects, it would be as follows. Was the character clearly defined? The character of the old lady was greatly defined. In fact, you explained about the physical as well as the mental state of the old lady so well that I could really feel the anxiousness that she might be feeling at that particular point of time when she knew that the death was near. So you did that perfectly well. Kudos to you for that. Second, did the speaker effectively express the situation in which the character was involved? Yes, you did it very, very, very well. You explained the situation that the old lady knew that the death was very, very near, and she just wanted to live more in just less time. And that is why she just wanted to make the best use of the time that she had. She wanted to take you through the city and not to reach the destination directly. Third, how effectively did the speaker use voice modulation and body movement? The voice modulation was perfectly fine. it exactly generated the same kind of emotion that were needed to generate in the speech. However, you could have used a little more of body language, but keeping in mind that the virtual screen do not give you much space to move, that would be acceptable. You did perfectly fine. Did the speaker successfully avoid eye contact with the audience? Yes, you did. It's a little difficult at the start to look into the audience's eyes when we start a journey as a public speaker. But when we learn this art of looking into the audience's eyes, it becomes difficult for us to not look into the audience's eyes. So you did it perfectly well. You did not look into the audience's eyes and you are in your own zone. What parts of the monodrama did the speaker appear most comfortable? There was no part of your speech, there was no part of your monodrama where you did not look comfortable. You were comfortable throughout your speech, and that came out only because of your well practice. Did the speaker display any distracting mannerism? Absolutely not. It was very, very apparent that you were in your own zone, and that indirectly touched the audience's heart. Thank you so much, and I wish you best of luck for the upcoming speeches, Ayyappa. Keep rocking as always.
Sorry, somebody wants to say something? No worries, no worries. Okay, thank you very much. Toastmaster Ankit, be the moon. How can I forget that? Every time I think about you, I think the moon. Great. Okay, now I'm going to move on to the next evaluator for the day. May I now invite the evaluator for the second speaker, Toastmaster Milind. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, can I see Lavit over there? Is Lavit there? Yeah, Lavit. Great.
You need to unmute.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I can.
Great. Oh, fine. So, Lavit, you were there. Two things I really liked. The starting, the way you introduced the speaker, the way the energy you got. You highlighted all the plus points, why you bought him. So that itself was very clear. India's #1 youngest PTM, and where you increase the energy, that was beautifully done. In the end also, the way you concluded thanking him and giving this gestures, the energy level was there right from the beginning, and also in the end too. And you actually motivated the DTM young guy to really inspire the way he was answering the questions. It was very professionally managed. So overall, and also the question you asked for the audience also, why should we listen to an interview? You initially asked his personal thing, what made him do it, and then what are the takeaways which are there, and what next. So that also gave us a perspective as a Toastmaster what we should be doing it. It's not only being a leader or a public speaker, achieving one standard in a Toastmasters, one after another. So overall, it was really a professional interview. It was a Lalit show indeed. One area which I felt, just a suggestion if you can, because the way you were sitting, I noticed that you were totally going back. And you had that chair which you had, so your action was right, and your back was touching the seat, back seat. So you looked too relaxed. Whereas if you had just stood straight with your spine correct and just moved ahead, so what would have happened? Your hand would have been much more easier. So the expression which would have come was really as if you were talking to him. So that would here it was happening slightly. It was like after asking the question, you were taking a back seat. Back seat is okay. You are required to encourage him to speak, but the fact that you were responding nice, or that you were giving those thoughts, but it was coming, you were too tight. So that normally you see in a professional interview, they normally don't have a chair with a side, because that impacts your chest is focused. You can have a round seat or something, and just don't ensure that your feet are touching the ground. So automatically, your back is in the front. Just move towards the speaker. It becomes easy as if you are trying to respond, get more out of it. So that was the only area which I felt. Otherwise, it was a beautiful, real, professional, Lalit TV show. With this, over to Manjunath.
Thank you for the evaluation.
Thank you, sir. That was clinical. Please, let's give a round of applause to both the evaluator, Toastmaster Milind, and Toastmaster Lalit Dhanush. Very well done. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, let's move on then. Number 4. Okay. May I now invite the evaluator, actually the third speaker, may I now invite the evaluator of the third speaker, Toastmaster Priyanka. Over to you.
Fitness enthusiast and a physiotherapist, I was elated when Toastmaster Sujata pulled the curtains off and started. Good evening. We experienced how excited Sujata was when she was talking about something that she loved with her pitch and command. She was with an outer shell of motivation and fire within. I saw an altruist deliver a speech to a diverse audience. The oars to her boat was the way she beautifully weaved traditional lifestyle, wisdom, learnings with the modern way of life. The speaker spoke with utmost sincerity and conviction. I was amazed with the way she encapsulated all the forms of exercises. Surely she had done a comprehensive research to present to the audience various options that can be instilled to make fitness a new lifestyle. She did not use notes, which gave us the confidence of her knowledge and showed her preparedness, that she was addressing a mixed audience. Toastmaster Sujata made use of the motivational sequence given by Dr. Alan Monroe. She grabbed all the audience attention with her assertive voice, explained the need. She used pictures, props, body language, voice modulation to intensify audience commitment and stimulated the thought of considering fitness. We noticed Toastmaster Sujata did not let the technical glitches affect her flow. What added glitter to her speech was the way she demonstrated all forms of exercises and picked what suits her best. My recommendations from my side would be personalizing to persuade, because when we share our experiences, our stories with people, emotions are aroused. And because we are emotional creatures, emotions contribute a large part in people's willingness to change their mind. A personal story also gives a proposition to proof. I noticed how the Toastmaster of the day took a very strong takeaway from her speech, but that cannot be expected from everyone. Coming to the content of the speech, if Toastmaster Sujata had used statistics, for example, every second girl in India suffers from PCOD, or 80% of the women have health issues due to hormonal imbalances, and 70% don't even know why and what to do about it. This could be attributed to our modern lifestyle. In a nutshell, Toastmaster Sujata's speech aroused the listeners' interest to assimilate new information. And I'm sure you hit the slingshot at the target by making us realize that yes, exercising is the need of the hour. Your beautiful journey from wishing it could happen to making it happen moved me. Toastmaster Sujata, you are an empath with a cerebral approach and a vision for your fellow beings. I congratulate you on delivering a wonderful speech. That's my time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Priyanka. Thank you very much. Very well done. Okay, let's give a round of applause to both the evaluator and the speaker. Well done. All right, thank you very much. Let's move on then. We have number 4. Okay. May I now invite the evaluator for the 4th speaker, Toastmaster Melvin. Toastmaster Melvin, please go ahead, sir.
Today, when I'm feeling failure, back to the word of the day, elated. In the opening of the speech itself had the word of the day. Then we started off with seeing this person come and give us a speech that is an iconic speech given to the grads of Stanford University. Robert McLean says, storytelling is the most powerful way to put ideas into the world. And that is what the speech was all about. I thought, Deepika, the speech that you chose was just perfect. I didn't feel you were talking to the grads of Stanford University. I felt you were talking right up to us. However, I must admit that I felt a bit
So we lost you.
Lost.
We lost you. Could you please check the connection again?
I felt you were
Toastmaster Melvin, the audio isn't great.
Yeah,
We are not
Melvin,
able to hear you.
I have stopped the timer for now.
Thank
So
you.
once you start, I will.
Melvin can
Another
switch off
thing,
his video.
get
He can
else.
only speak.
Melvin, probably you can switch off your video and start speaking.
Okay.
So are you going to start from first or continue? Hello? Hello?
Shall we come back to him?
Yeah, let's go to Rajesh and then come back.
Okay.
Melvin,
My connection just went off, I think.
okay, now we can hear you clearly.
Okay, fine, great. So I felt you looked a bit nervous, and rightly so, because you're talking to a graduating class of a prestigious university. You made me feel like we are not listening to Oprah. We're listening to Oprah herself. I would like you to rehearse the entry a bit. I felt you just took off with the speech. And one of the guidelines of the speech or objectives was to interpret, the word is interpret, and present a famous speech. However, your speech went on very well. In the second half, you looked much more relaxed. Of course, your flawless oratory skills, I would have wanted you to do a little more dramatics like opera. You know, pauses would have helped when you use a little bit of more pauses at some time. Because I know you had a maximum of 10 minutes, you use 8.5 minutes. So you could have used some pauses, smiled, smiled at the audience, that you would look more relaxed. And then pointedly at somebody, look pointedly at somebody. I think that would have made a bit of a difference. To keep our concentration in such a long speech is not easy, but you did that very well, because you went on giving us a speech which made us like in a live performance. I think I heard the bell. However, you ended with her script, about the books, and instead of the cars, as your mentor, I'm sure I would have sent you a car, but I don't have enough of money now, so I'll have to forget it for the moment. But what a journey, and what a way to end an advanced communicator silver on such a fantastic and high note, with giving such a marvelous speech. Of all kudos to you. Congratulations and all the best. Deepika Das, Advanced Communicators Silver.
Thank you, Melvin.
That was nice. Great. A big round of applause for Toastmaster Melvin and Toastmaster Deepika for that wonderful feelings. Well done. Thank you. Thank you very much for that wonderful. Moving on, we have the fifth evaluation. May I now invite the evaluator for the fifth speaker, Toastmaster Rajesh. Toastmaster Rajesh, stage is yours, the virtual stage.
Thank you, Toastmaster Manjunath. Good evening, everyone, and Smita Roshi in particular. Smita, I need to confess here. Initially, I was a little skeptical whether to take the evaluation for the speech or not. But I'm really elated that I took it because I got to learn so many new things about brain waves. In fact, you started off with hooking us to love waves, which came down to be the brain waves, and you took us with the transitional information about how the brain is constructed and what are its parts and what is its functions, how do it work. In fact, the organ which is so complex, which is full of gray matter, it was a complete gray area to us, but you slightly sliced it and diced it so well that we could understand really well. And that was because of your addition of comparison, because you brought in those ice creams, you brought in those Teflon, the Velcros to connect it. That comparisons could really connect us to this complex organ which is present in our body. And you also brought in how it could be empowered with positivity and how it could make our brain more function really well, and many more things. And you ended up with re-emphasizing and giving us the suggestions of how a brain can be stimulated with music, with relaxing, focusing our breaths, meditation. It was a really good takeaway. And all these were a really good learning that could something be emulated by everyone. Now, coming on to the speech, in particular about demonstration, I felt somewhere the slides were a little disconnected, because when you were speaking about sleep, we were still looking at the slide which was for music. Had it been that if you had only one slide or two slides which were about the brain itself, and we could imagine if you could bring out that imagery in our brains by giving your speech, that itself I think would have been sufficient there. And the other thing that I felt was a little disconnect was that you started with brain waves. So I was thinking it might be about the brain waves, but it was mostly about brain. So in the beginning, if you could have emphasized a little more on the particular object that you were working on or demonstrating on, it would have been a smoother transition than what it happened to be. But overall, having said that, it was a really good speech. I have to congratulate you for bringing such a complex topic into our understanding. Thank you, Smita. Over to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajesh. That was in-depth, wasn't it? Let's give a round of applause for Toastmaster Rajesh for that wonderful evaluation and a great speech from Toastmaster Smita Roshi. Thank you very much. That was exceptional indeed. The evaluation section is over now. There is something more, I'm sorry. May I now invite the timer, Priyanka, to share her report.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, here is my timer report. Toastmaster Ayyappa spoke well before the qualifying time. He took 4 minutes, 37 seconds. Toastmaster Sujata overshooted by 56 seconds. Toastmaster Smita overshooted by 1 minute, 40 seconds. Evaluator Rajesh overshooted by 10 seconds. Evaluator Melvin overshooted by 46 seconds. And evaluator Priyanka overshooted by 7 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, now let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Priyanka for keeping track of the time. Thank you very much for doing a great job. Now, may I now invite the grammarian, Surekha ma'am, to share your findings. Over to Surekha ma'am.
Yes, man. Thank you, Manjunath. So today was a day packed with linguistic excellence, a feast for discovering language proficiencies, and unfortunately, starvation time for discovering the deficiencies. Some of the most brilliant expressions rather were hint of the rising sun, sound of the closing of life, accomplish this feat, entirety of this journey, validation and credibility, stand as an example and testimony, weaved traditional wisdom, motivational sequence, service and significance, trust and treasure, money and meaning, Mozart composition, memory of love still soaring in space, Velcro for negative thinking and Teflon for positive thinking, stimulated the audience, assimilate new information, flawless oratory skills, sliced and diced. And well, but no one's perfect, isn't it? That's why pencils have erasers. So today, some of the imperfect expressions and their appropriate usages would be, we are agriculture family. We were an agricultural family. Many of our works, many of our chores came out because of your well practice. It was the result of your keen preparation. These are my observations. Thank you, Manjana.
Thank you very much, Surekha ma'am. Let's give a round of applause for our grammarian, Toastmaster Surekha ma'am. Okay. Thanks to the committee, first of all, for giving me this wonderful opportunity. This is my first time ever as a Toastmaster of the day, and it's been an absolute pleasure being the string in this beautiful garland of speeches and team. Thank you very much. Now, I have a voting code. Toastmaster Deepika has already shared the link for voting for today. You have to just click on that link, of course, and please type in 9876. That's 9876. That's the secret code, the voting code, so that you can type it in and vote for your favorite candidate.
Can you repeat the number one more time?
It is 9876. If you're done with the voting, please give a thumbs up. That way I'll know and we can proceed quickly. Thank you, Srijit. Thank you, Toastmaster Melvin.
How to go in?
Somebody needs help with the voting. Lalit, thank you. Deepika Das, thank you. All right, so we'll proceed then. Okay, thanks again. Thanks for this wonderful opportunity. I'm sorry.
He's a CM. Chief Minister.
Can we have everyone else on mute, please?
Request the non-speakers to kindly mute your microphones. Thank you. Okay, so like I said, it's been wonderful, a pleasure indeed. Thank you very much for the committee, and time to say goodbye. I'm going to hand over the virtual stage to the inspiring president of Bangalore Toastmasters Club, Toastmaster Deepika. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Manjunath. I mean, if you hadn't mentioned to anyone that this was your first time as TOD, I don't think anyone in the audience apart from Ayappa and I would have known that this was your first time. You were fantastic. You held the meeting so well. There were certain glitches here and there, and you made sure that you covered it to perfection. Thank you for taking up this role at the nth minute and doing it so fantastically. Can we all give Manjunath a huge round of applause? I once again would like to thank Toastmaster Milind and Toastmaster Priyanka for joining us today and evaluating our speeches. Thank you so very much for that. We really appreciate you being here with us today. I will quickly go on to the results for today's meeting. The best evaluator goes to, there's a tie for the best evaluator. There's a tie between Toastmaster Priyanka Ramchandani and Toastmaster Melvin Smith. And the best speaker goes to your almost outgoing president, Toastmaster Deepika Das. Thank you so much. With that, we come to the end of today's meeting. Thank you all once again for joining us on a Saturday and for helping us have these extra meetings so that we can all finish our advanced speeches, CC speeches. As you know, June 30th is the deadline and we're all racing towards it. Over last week and this week, many of us have finished. We have a few more speakers who will be finishing over the course of next 2 weeks. So thank you all for joining us, yes, last week and this week, just to help us get through this and make this meeting a big success. Thank you all. Have a lovely Saturday. Have a lovely Sunday. Have a goodbye. God bless. And thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Deepika.
Thank you.
Thank you,
The
everyone.
committee for putting this up.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Shrijit.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.